Hi folks, John with the Wingman 115 channel. Thank you so much for checking in. I'm here in my brand new home studio. I thought that we would take the opportunity to showcase what I'm going to be carrying for the 2017 archery hunting season. Now, I am a trad hunter. I use traditional tackle. For a lot of folks that follow along on my other social medias, Instagram and on Facebook, I post a lot of photos and little video snippets of me doing archery, mostly 3D stuff here in the backyard, and showcasing some of the old school bows that I collect. I love old school stuff. It just brings back a lot of great memories of my childhood and all that. But a lot of folks have expressed a desire to see what I'm carrying this year out into the woods. I thought I would gather it all together, lay it out here on the table. We're going to get up close and personal. We're going to break it down piece by piece. I'm going to explain every piece of kit that I'm carrying. Now, keep in mind, what I used to carry up in northern Maine is going to be a little bit different than what I carry down here in SoCal, with weather conditions being different, geographical area, the time of year that we're hunting, the list goes on and on. So what I'm carrying in the Southwest at elevation is going to be just a little bit different, but there's a core part of this kit that is going to be the same no matter where you are. So without further ado, let's cut away, let's get up close and personal, and let's get this party started. It starts now. Let's start off with what bow I'm going to be using. Now, this bow was my dad's bow, and this is a Browning Cobra. It's a 50-pound bow. It's got a 50-inch ammo. It is a short bow, and Dad bought this. It worked really good up in northern Maine where there was a lot of cedar swamps, a lot of really just brush, alder areas to get into those tight spots without getting hung up. I thought I would honor my dad's memory by using this bow, hopefully on my first harvest. And hopefully the archery gods will shine down on me and allow that to happen. Let's talk a little bit about this Browning recurve. It's got a really cool story and links to San Diego. First off, this bow was designed by a fellow by the name of Harry Drake. Now, Harry Drake was an early pioneer in building modern composite bows. He had built a lot of different designs. Matter of fact, Harry Drake holds the world record at that time for the longest shot that flew 2,028 yards, and that was October 24th, 1971. Now, this bow was made by a company called Gordon Plastics. Browning had Gordon Plastics make a lot of their recurve bows back in the early and mid 60s. Gordon Plastics was stationed right here in San Diego because of the huge aerospace industry. Now, in 1973, Gordon Plastics sold all their bow making facilities to Browning, and a lot of that facilities was moved to Utah, where they made all their compound and recurve bows from then on. So just really cool story about the early days of Gordon Plastics and Browning. Next thing we're going to talk about is the quiver that I'm carrying. This is a Selway strap-on quiver. Now, as you can see, it just wraps right around the limb. And what I found is that it quiets the bow down and the vibration quite a bit. And with this bow, I do get a little bit of vibration. So I may need to put on some string silencers as well. Now, this configuration on this quiver, it will hold up to 6 arrows. Now, I'm only carrying 4. It's just my personal choice of what I feel. I didn't want to crowd the quiver and have a hard time being able to get arrows in and out, but I just love the workmanship of this quiver. And what's great about it is that it works on all my other bows, including my Montana longbow. Let's take a moment to talk about the arrow that I'm going to be using. Now, if you ask 100 different archers, you're going to get 100 different answers on arrow type, broadheads, nocks, fletching, everything. I can only tell you what I'm using and what works for me with what I'm shooting. I found that these gold tip traditional, and these are a carbon fiber arrow with a basically just a wood wrap around it, work really nice for me. I love that old school look and feel of these arrows. These arrows, folks are going to ask, they're 8.6 grains per inch. I'm running just the regular inserts in there, and I'm using a 125 grain broadhead. The broadhead that I'm using is a d.r.t. Now, it is 100 grains, the actual broadhead, with a 25 grain collar on that. The reason I went with this configuration is I shoot 125 grain, basically bullet nosed field tips, and I wanted to get pretty close to that, so I have pretty close to the same characteristics in arrow flight. Now, I'm a big fan of practicing with your gear. You need to get a foam block, something that will take a broadhead shot, and practice and practice and practice with your broadheads until you're proficient, because the arrow flight with your broadheads are going to be just a little bit different than shooting your field tips. Flight characteristics, just the design of the broadhead can change the whole flight of that arrow. So I highly recommend you practice with whatever tackle you're going to be using. Also, I'm bringing along a judo point. Judo points just in case I see that one squirrel, that rabbit. If they're in season, hey, I'm goose egg deer hunting. I still have a chance to harvest something, bring it home. I got a judo point. These work really well in my locale where I'm up in the local mountains, and just the pine duff is just terrible. It's like 3, 4, 5 inches deep. These judo points catch on that really well, and I'm happy to say that I've never lost an arrow where I've used a judo point on. So this is my arrow configuration. The way I have this loaded out right here, cut at 28 inches, I'm running about 377.10 grains on this. Folks are going to be interested and they're going to ask, so there's the technical specs. Let's take a moment to talk about arm guard and glove. Now, arm guard. My dad never really used an arm guard hunting because he always had a long sleeve shirt or a jacket on. Down here in SoCal, my sleeves may be rolled up, or I might be wearing a short sleeve shirt. Really, the only reason you wear an arm guard is so you don't get that string slap. But if your bow is properly tuned to the right brace height and you're holding that bow correctly, you shouldn't get any string slap at all. So just a basic arm guard, Velcro. Keep it clean, keep all the nasties out of the Velcro. You're going to be good to go. Let's get that out of the way. Glove. I'm using just a leather neat glove. I've had this glove now for probably 4 or 5 years, and I have shot thousands of arrows with this glove. Let's get it up close. Now, what I do every so often, I treat the leather with saddle soap, and then I usually put some leather conditioner on there just to keep the leather from drying out, because you're going to be sweating a lot, and the tips on here are going to get constantly wet. But as you can see, 4 or 5 seasons, still holding up great. Just take care of your gear and it's going to take care of you. These run about, I don't know, 14, 15 bucks depending on where you get them. You might get them a little cheaper, you might get them a little more expensive. I think got it at the local archery shop for like 15 bucks. Now for my standard gear, my loadout. A while back, probably about a year or two, time flies by so fast, I did a video on this haversack with a archery loadout. I'll leave a link in the video description below. This haversack is made by Malcolm over at the Hidden Woodsman. just makes outstanding quality gear. Just a small cottage industry organization. Everything's all sourced from the United States, 100% made in the USA. Materials are from the USA. Just can't say enough good things about Malcolm and his business. My basic loadout here and what I carry are, I'm going to start from the top down. I carry just a coyote brown schmog. You might be in a area where you just need a little extra cover. Drape this over some tree branches just to break you up just a little bit. Just a nice little add-on. I found that this works great out here in SoCal and in the Southwest area. And then one thing, it's 100% cotton, so you can always wrap it around your neck, put a little bit of water on there, and now you can keep yourself cool with this. Awesome piece of kit. I highly recommend it. Some areas, if I'm on the ground, just a balaclava. I love multicam. It works very good for what I do out here in SoCal. I use this when I'm pig hunting, coyote hunting, and if I'm sitting in a stand, deer hunting. It works really well. It gets a little bit hot, but it's just the price you pay when you're out there hunting. So just a little balaclava. Little coyote call, never know. Sometimes I'm doing different things when I'm out and about, so it works really good. I have a battery, basically a little power bank. This is the Out XE. I like this because it has a solar panel on there, so if for some reason I drain this, or say I get lost, I have a way to keep this charged up. Now, charging on solar, it's going to take a little while, but at least I can keep the cell phone charged up. Hopefully I can get a signal, call out, say I get hurt, or if somebody else gets hurt. So nice piece of kit to always have. Never leave home without a map. I know in the days of GPSs and things like that, everybody relies on their smartphones, but guess what? Smartphones break, smartphones don't work, batteries die, things happen. Murphy seems to always come along when you least expect it. So a good map and compass. I use a Silva Ranger. I've carried one of these as a kid. This is not the one I carried as a kid, but these have always worked really well for me. Nice little Write in the Rain notebook. I like that because I like taking notes when I'm out hunting, especially in an area. I will use my laser rangefinder. I'll draw a little map and then I'll write on there basically what the yardage is. That way, when I'm shooting, I know how far to hold over, hold under. Makes it real nice and neat. My little pencil and pen kit to go with the Write in the Rain notebook. Always got to have some munchies when you're out there. These Cliff Bars work really well. Highly recommend them. Front pouch. Now the new ones come with a zipper that's a lot more quiet. This one is one of the original ones, so it has the Velcro. My iPhone charger and cable. Here's a tool that I showcased on the channel a while back. The reason that I carry this is you always need like Torx wrenches and a broadhead wrench. Works really well. Just awesome piece of kit to always have, whether you're deer hunting or whether you're using a powder burner. Flashlight. Just posted a story on my Facebook page, the Wingman Facebook page. There was some folks in New Hampshire that had to call 911 because it got dark out and they didn't have flashlights, and they were about 1.5 miles from the trailhead. So that's just sad right there. Those type of people need to stay out of the woods. You need to always bring a flashlight with you. You just never know what's going to happen. Hunting license, and it's valid. I'm a big fan of bringing whistles. A lot of times we've had to do search and rescue operations here in the backcountry, and I'm sorry, but you can only yell for so long. If anybody's ever gone to a rock concert and after the concert, you can barely talk, you can only imagine that if you're seriously injured, say you fell down into a canyon, into a ravine, folks could walk right past you. With this whistle, they can hear this up to 2 miles. It's just insane. I highly recommend these storm whistles. I like bringing, this is a little compass and thermometer, and I just like knowing what the conditions are outside. Can opener, little magnesium rod with a ferrocerium rod on there, works really well. Let's see. Laser rangefinder. Now you're going, John, you're hunting with traditional gear. Why are you using a laser rangefinder? Well, I like to know how far away my little ambush zones are. So my max safe, like ethical shot is about 20 yards. So what I'll do is I'll set up in my stand, I'll look, and then I will start using the rangefinder to know how far out 20 yards is, so I can have that good ethical kill shot when the time hopefully arises. Binos. You never know when you need binos, especially when you're out stalking, playing around. I'm using the Nikon Aculons. These work really well. These are, let's see, 10 by 25s with 5 degree. And they're nice and clear. They retail for about, I don't know, 80 bucks. I've used these now for probably 5 or 6 years, and they've never failed me. They work really well. Always need a good set of binos whenever you're out in the woods. Now, one of the most important pieces of kit is a good first aid kit. Now, I'm not going to go through this whole kit, but this is just a Vanquest FATPack, and I just have all sorts of goodies in here. Let's see if we can get it open. I'm not going to go through every piece of kit in here, but just to show you that in case something happens, I'm able to hopefully take care of the situation. Now, everybody is probably wondering, John, what knife are you going to be carrying out in the woods for the 2017 hunting season? Well, I'm glad you asked. There's a lot of knives that I review on the channel, and a few months ago I had the opportunity to review this blade. I was so impressed with its performance that I decided that this is going to be my go-to knife this year. While I'm hunting, we're going to put it through the paces and really test it out. This is the SlySteel Skeletek Bushcraft knife. Now, I did a review on this blade earlier this year. I'll leave a link in the video description below. I just have to say that this knife performed just outstanding. Now, we tried to do a bow drill fire with this knife. We did a feeble attempt, and we keep it real on the show. We're not going to be like these fake reality shows that just show stuff that isn't real. We weren't able to get our fire going. Sometimes that's life. That's just how it works. It wasn't the knife's fault, that's for sure. I really like the design of this blade. I think that SlySteel got it right. And there's a really cool backstory on the design on this. Oliver's son, Christopher, designed this knife as a build knife for his Boy Scout troop, and it worked so well that they decided to take it into full production. Well, I must say that from using it out in the woods, I used a prototype, not this exact knife. The prototype worked just outstanding. Now this is their full production model. This knife is 10 inches long. It's made out of 1095 high carbon steel. Comes in 2 colors. You can either get it in OD green Cerakote, which this one is, or you can get it in a clear Cerakote. The blade length is 4.3 inches long. I really like that drop point design, and I like the sweep at the tip of the knife. And I really think that this is going to be just a great hunting knife. The jimping is not overly aggressive. I'm able to turn this knife around. I can get up in there. I can skin with this. I can gut with it. It has a SlySteel striker notch on the top. And what I like is that they zone hardened the spine on this. So that way the heat from the SlySteel is not going to mess with the temper in the steel on this blade. It's ambi, so if you're right or lefty, it has bow drill divots in there. I really like the scales on here. They're tan canvas micarta with red liners. We'll zoom up in here real quick. And I really like how that pops with that OD green. It just looks really good. And these handles are just really nice. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about this blade, like I said earlier, I'll leave a link in the video description below. You can check it out. Now, really cool Kydex sheath. And if you order through SlySteel Knives, you get your choice of either this Tech Lock universal belt clip, or they also have a molly lock, which is basically 2 molly straps that you can bolt on either side. And I really like the retention on this blade. As a hunter, you're messing around in the bushes. I can't tell you how many times I've either dropped my knife where it fell out of the sheath, or I just lost it. Something hooked on to maybe the lanyard that I had on there and just pulled it right out. So with a nice good positive lock on both sides, it's going to work great. And look for a long-term update, maybe in a couple months, on this blade. We're really going to put it through the paces. So with that, that is my loadout. Let's cut out for some final thoughts. Well, you got a little sneak peek of what I carry for my 2017 bow hunting deer season loadout. Let me know in the comment box below what you would carry, what you wouldn't carry. Now, keep in mind, like I said before, it depends on your geographical area, the time of year, all that good stuff. Core kit is basically going to be the same no matter where you go. Am I nuttier than a Christmas fruitcake for what I'm carrying? I don't know. Post it up in the comments below. We'll have a conversation. As always, keep it nice. It's a kid-friendly program. So, with that said, this is John with the Wingman 115 channel. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care, folks.